weeks ago, the SDSU baseball team was embarrassed by the Omaha Mavericks, blowing a 9-run lead in one of the games and getting swept during a 3-game set that was played in Sioux Falls. Though that likely cost the Jackrabbits a chance to win the Summit League regular season title, they've made a statement this weekend that things might be different if they see the first-place Mavericks in the Summit League tournament next month. Rubber game of their 3-game set in Omaha this week, with SDSU looking to take the series. They'd have to do it against Sioux Falls native Spencer Coolwine. He's had a big year for the Mavs, but in the third inning he got wild with Josh Falk batting this pass ball, scores Luke Smith, and it's 1-0. On the very next pitch, this one gets all the way to the backstop, and here comes Braden Brown to score. It's 2-0. The Jacks would load the bases a few batters later as Coolwine walked 5. He strikes out Luke Ira, but that was the end of his day. 3 innings, 6 strikeouts, and those 5 walks and 2 runs. Nick McKay on the other side was marvelous. He struck out 11 over 7 innings, allowing just 1 hit and no runs. Omaha would come back against the bullpen. This thing goes 13 innings before the Jacks finally get the victory by a final of 6-4. They take 2 out of 3 in the series and will host Fort Wayne for the first of 3 on Friday. Dakota Wesleyan wrapping up the regular season with a pair at Morningside. The Tigers would strike first in the first when Drew Demers hits a single into left field. That'll score the first run of the game, and it's 1-0. Later in the first, the Tigers with a man on third. Chandler Bakley hits a slow chopper, and the third baseman throws that one a little wild. That'll make it 2-0 Dakota Wesleyan. Back come the Mustangs in the second, though. If you didn't notice today, it was a little windy, and it was also windy in Sioux City, and this ball just got caught up in it. It drops as an RBI single for Derek Johnson, as Morningside would come back to get the victory by a final of 5-4. However, the Tigers win Game 2 6-1. It's John Gracier's 100th career victory as Dakota Wesleyan's manager. They'll be the 4th seed in the GPAC tournament, which starts next week. After a disappointing 78-84 season in which they were ranked 23rd with just 166 home runs, the Minnesota Twins prioritized adding power to their lineup for 2019, and 1 month in, it seems like it was a pretty good investment. 24 games into the season, they're 4th in the majors with 47 dingers. About half those have come against the lowly Baltimore Orioles, who sent Dylan Bundy to the mound today to try and avoid a sweep for the season against the Twins. He might as well have been Al Bundy. That's Max Kepler with a leadoff home run, his 7th of the year, and it's 1-0. In the third inning, Byron Buxton, one of the only guys not to homer this year, and guess what he does? Second deck shot. It's 2-0. The later in the inning, Twins load the bases. Orioles are playing everybody back because they're hitting all these bombs, and what do you know, Marwin Gonzalez bloops one where they ain't. 2 runs come in to score. That'd be the end of the scoring for the Twins, but they didn't need any more runs because the pitching was solid. Blake Parker comes in to lock it down in the 9th inning. Minnesota is 16-9 after the 4-1 victory. They'll host Houston for the first of 3 beginning tomorrow. It's been 5 years since Rapid City native Mark Ellis last played in the major leagues and wrapped up one of the most successful careers by a native South Dakotan. Inducted into the South Dakota Sports Hall of Fame last night, Ellis is one of 39 players from the Rushmore State to ever play in the majors. The former Rapid City Hardhat played 13 big league seasons, mostly with the Oakland A's, and was a career .262 hitter. Though his home state has a rich Legion and amateur baseball history, it's been difficult of late for players from here to make it to the majors, with just 3 native South Dakotans debuting during the last decade. Ellis dealt with some of the stereotypes during his career from being from South Dakota and says that you can't let it deter you.
Never use where you're from as a crutch when you're playing baseball. It doesn't matter. If you can play, you can play. And just go out and enjoy it. And play with all kinds of passion. Play as long as you can. If you have that passion and that desire, it can take you a long ways.
That's good advice, which also applies to University of Sioux Falls offensive lineman Trey Pipkins as he begins an unlikely professional career in the NFL with the Los Angeles Chargers. With a mom who played basketball at the University of Iowa, Pipkins was more of a basketball product at Apple Valley, Minnesota, and mostly played tight end when he was 5'11". Late in his high school years, a growth spurt saw him shoot up to 6'7". Sioux Falls coaches liked his potential as an offensive lineman and began the transition to tackle with some simple advice back in 2014, which would end up helping him become an All-American and third-round draft choice.
It was weird because I'd never played offensive line or anything like that before. And I mean, as a tight end, I was blocking and things like that. I didn't do a lot of pass blocking, though, as a tight end in high school. My basketball background, that's how they kind of taught me how to pass block. That was first day. They were just kind of threw me into the fire, and they were like, just play basketball, stay in front of them. And I've obviously gotten better with my technique since then, but that's still kind of the mindset.
Pipkins will report to the Chargers on May 10th for the start of their 4-day rookie minicamp. There's no disputing that USD's Chris Nilsson is one of, if not the best pole vaulter in all of college track and field. Yesterday, he took a big step in showing that he's one of the best in the country and world. Competing against professionals in the Drake Relays Special Invitational Pole Vault, Nilsson cleared 19 feet 2 1/4 inches to win the championship. You come for the vault, but you stayed for his celebrations. Now, the runner-up of this was the Olympic bronze medalist Sam Kendricks, marking the first time in 5 meetings that Nilsson had bested the reigning United States track and field national champion.
I don't think it's hit me yet. I think I'll wake up tomorrow and realize that I won or something, because I don't really think I definitely was coming in here thinking I was going to win, because you got Sam Kendricks, world champion, American record holder, all this other stuff, and then Andrew Irwin's out here jumping 580 every single time out, and then you got all these other good guys jumping. So I think it's just kind of like an honor to come out here and then do my best, and then being able to win just like cherry on top.
Nilsson and the Coyotes will conclude the regular season at the Howard Wood Relays next week, which is, of course, where Chris set his own personal record last year when he had a winning vault of 19 feet 2 3/4 inches. Well, back in Sioux Falls last night, the Storm suffered their second loss of the season, both of which to Arizona, 63-50. That completes a season sweep for Arizona, which will likely give them home field advantage throughout the IFL playoffs. Storm will try and bounce back next week against Quad Cities. And finally, bouncing back is just what the Aberdeen Wings did in Game 2 of their Central Division Championship Series with Minot. They got goals from Nick Sicoli, Jonathan Bendorf, and John Sladek on their way to a 3-1 victory. That series now tied at 1. It's a best-of-5. Games 3 and 4 are in Minot next Friday and Saturday. If necessary, a winner-take-all 5th game a week from tomorrow in the Hub City. We're back in 1 moment.